Where do our Tar Heels go from here? We've lost in epic proportions, the most historic loss in North Carolina history. We give up an epic collapse to our rival on the road. Our coaching staff and Mac Brown are not getting the job done once again this year, and us as the fans, we're just tired. We're ready for a change. We're angry. So where do we go now? 5 games in. Well, let's talk about it. Let's go.
You don't want none.
What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? Nathan, one half of your Heel brothers, and this has been a very fun 48 to 72 hours, to say the least. I think we can all agree at this point in time that we are in a situation now that cannot be just schemed up as, if we would have done one or two little things, we would have been all right and keep it moving. I think we all know that we're in a position of change. We're at a time of, this North Carolina football program is at a dire time right now. And it's something that some of us and some fans have been talking about for a while, and it's now starting to come to fruition. It's unfortunate to say, but that's what it is. North Carolina loses historically to JMU, having 70 points scored on them for the second time in their history ever. This time, first time being at home against a group of 5 school. Don't get me wrong, JMU is a very good group of 5 school. We'll say that. They're not Georgia or Alabama, and we made them look like Georgia or Alabama. Then you follow it up the week next, afterwards, after you talk about in your press conferences, we're going to change this, that, and the fourth. No player availability. You come out, look great in the first half. Hold Duke to a total combined yardage gained in the first half of 95, 97. You finish it up giving them over 300. It's time for a change, man. It's time for something new. We're seeing stuff that's been ridiculous for a while now, and it's not changing, and there's only one thing that can happen. The problem is, what we're talking about is happening in the beginning of the season. We're used to having these types of conversations at the very end of season. So here we are going into our 6th game of the year, and we're talking about all the changes, the turmoil that's in with the team, that's going on with the fan base, internally, the noise in between those 4 walls. So where do we go from here? How do we get through the rest of this schedule in order to start to deal with these things? It's really going to be left up to the players now, isn't it? That's the thing. Players got to play. And you've got nothing but ACC schools left and remaining. And tough ones at that. Pitt is going to be a lot tougher of a team than what we're used to seeing coming up this weekend. Georgia Tech, we know that story. Virginia, looking better, to say the least. Florida State, they don't look, they're actually kind of looking worse than us, to say the least. Wake Forest, I think we can handle them potentially. Boston College and NC State, I don't know. This is all of this is going to depend on how this Carolina team responds. After back-to-back losses, does this Carolina team fold? Do they fold in the towel completely? I know they folded the last couple of weeks, but do they fold in the towel completely? Because in my opinion, and you guys may be different on this than me, you let me know down in the comments. I have a feeling we're going to agree a lot on this case. But if Carolina continues to play the brand of football that they have been playing over the past couple of weeks, I don't see them winning but maybe one game, and that being the Wake Forest game. Potentially Florida State, but I'm going to give that edge to Florida State because you're in Tallahassee, and they'll find a way by that point in time of the season, I do believe. This is a tough spot. This is a really tough spot for North Carolina to be in, and Mac Brown better hope that he And we as fans better hope that they can at least get through this season, because we're staring down the barrel of a season where we do not get into a bowl game if we continue this play. I would like to be optimistic and say, oh, Carolina's going to go out. They're going to beat Pitt. They're going to beat Georgia Tech. They beat Virginia, Florida State. They might lose to Boston College, beat State. I'm off of that train now. I can't force myself to be on it. Best case scenario, you rattle off 10-2. Worst case scenario, you don't win another game this season. Outside, I say you beat Wake. I really don't believe. I don't think Wake's a really good team at all. So I think you would beat Wake. So you would end the season 4-8. How's that sound, everybody? Sound good? It's a tough situation, man. We are in a situation at North Carolina that we haven't saw since Mac Brown returned, outside of the one outlier, the 6-7 season. It's a tough spot. It's a tough spot for Carolina, and I want them to respond. And quite frankly, if I'm them, how I respond in this situation, you got to look at it. You got to put your backs up against the wall and say, you know what? No more. No more. If we're going to go down, we're going to go down fighting with pride and honor. Let whatever happens after the season happens. Let me fight with pride and honor all the way until that time. And see what happens. Who knows? The season technically isn't lost. It's up to Carolina to make adjustments and make the changes that we've been asking for. But it's up to them to do it. They have the personnel to do it. They have the talent on the roster to get it done. Will they? What will they do from here is going to determine so much of what happens in this offseason, or so much of how this job may look potentially to a new head coach coming in at the end of the season. We're going to find out, man. I'm curious. I'm not going to say I'm looking forward to it, but I am curious because, quite frankly, I'm not going to lie to you guys. They are making it hard for me to be very optimistic about this and be very excited right now. And I think I can speak to all of us when I say that. I believe I'm correct. Don't get me wrong. I'm still going to support. I'm still going to show up for the Wake Forest game. I'm still going to be there. I'm still going to be watching on my television. I'm still going to be doing this stuff with you. But they're making it harder to do it. You kind of have to find something to talk about right now. And that's a bad position to be in as a program. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Where do you believe Carolina's going to go from here? Personally, if I had to predict, I think they at least become bowl eligible. And I can't see it going past that. 6 wins. I was a guy that had 11-1 on the season. Silly me, right? Silly me. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this. Where do you believe Carolina's going to go from here? Where do we go? How do we do it? Do we play with honor and pride, or do we let this hang over our heads for the rest of the season? I want the honor and the pride, because if that's the case, then yes, Carolina can still go at least 9-3, 8-4 potentially, but 10-2 being your ceiling. That's still a pretty good ceiling. If they play with that honor and pride, we'll see. But if they let this hang over their heads, then, ladies and gentlemen, we may very well be done winning games this year. Who knows? Let's find out. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. And as always, no matter what's going on, go Heels.